Welcome to the Clueless Couple Podcast. I'm Michael.
And I'm Francina, and we're your go-to couple for real conversations on life, love, and everything in between. So grab your favorite drink, get cozy, and join us as we share our journey on
the Clueless Couple Podcast. We're back.
I was like, are you going to say something?
Welcome to the Clueless Couple Podcast. I'm Michael.
And I'm Francina.
This is it.
Thank you, Jesus. This is our last episode.
Forever. No, it's just for the first season. Or maybe not.
Yeah, I don't know. I thought that it would be the last episode for the season because we didn't plan on just doing just one season. Mm-hmm. When we started this, we were like, okay, we're doing a podcast. Yeah. But this has been ghetto.
So
how do you feel about how this season has gone?
I feel good. We had some hiccups along the way. Yeah, I mean,
we had some hiccups.
As far as I believe it was 3 or 4 episodes where we had issues with, the audio. But other than that, I've been working hard at it, grinding.
Okay, I'm gonna let that slide. Okay, so I was not a fan of this season. I was actually very disappointed in this season.
Why were you disappointed?
Because like you said, we had like 3 episodes where the audio was like literally trash. I didn't have my mic on. That was the problem. So Michael always had his mic on, but I did not have my mic on. And so, yeah, it was just, I expected better. I expected better of us. I thought, okay, we're going to shoot a podcast. And, we did that, but it just it wasn't like I thought it was going to be, meaning the production value. So I think that we had good conversation. We had, good content, but just, again, the production value of it. When I do something, I like for it to be right.
Right.
And I expect that I will be able to get it right. And the fact that we had so many problems with like the audio and stuff like that, it was just very disappointing to me.
Well, what things did you like about the podcast?
I mean, I liked shooting the podcast. I liked sitting on the sofa and us having discussions, especially since this season was more about wanting people to get to know us. Right. So, we reminisced about, our relationship a lot. Mm-hmm. We talked about different, experiences and things that we had. And just, like I said in the very first episode, the reason that I wanted to start a podcast was, so you and I could kind of spend time together. Mm-hmm. So I think, that was accomplished for us because the actual podcast itself, like us sitting and talking, I enjoyed that.
Right.
But it was everything
in between and behind the scenes,
all of the things. So, I mean, the audio situation, because honestly, I felt like maybe we should change the name of our podcast because we're calling ourselves the Clueless Couple, right? Mm-hmm. And I really like that. It, finally started to stick with me. But I really believe that life and death is in the power of the tongue, and that we speak, and that with our words, we frame our world. So to some degree, I was like, are we having all of these issues because we have spoke clueless on us? I mean, that might be a little bit deep, but I'm just saying this is how, how I was thinking about it, because I was really kind of disappointed. I just expected a little bit more from us. Everybody else might have thought it was fine.
Yeah. So I guess, what do they think? Should we start or think about a new name if we go to season 2? Or should we stick with the Clueless Couple? Because,
maybe people gonna think I'm a little bit deep, because, okay, so just think about the boys' nicknames. Let's even go there, right? Okay. So my oldest, I call him Pooh, right? I don't know why. Ever since he was a baby, I called him Pooh or Pooh Pie. Matthew comes along and I called him Chunk or my Chunk, because when he was a baby, he was like the chunkiest little, just nugget, little love muffin. And at some point, he began to take on the form of Chunk and he, started to kind of put on weight and, this and that. And I stopped calling him Chunk for a while because I was like, I'm speaking Chunk on him. And the only reason I went back to calling him Chunk was because he was upset that I stopped calling him that. He said, you still call Michael Pooh, but you don't call me Chunk anymore. And so that's why. So I said all of that to say I had the same thought process even as it relates to like the kids' nicknames and stuff.
Yeah.
Is that too much?
Yeah,
too deep?
That's kind of too deep. But
Okay.
I mean, we could put that in consideration.
No, I'm just saying.
I just think that, it's all in fun what we do. We call the podcast The Clueless Couple, just in fun.
Yeah.
But I mean, if you can't have fun,
I'm being too critical about it.
Yeah.
Because I had at least one person and this is the other thing, because on those episodes where we were having the issues with the audio, when you look at like the analytics of, behind the scenes, the back end of our channel, those episodes had like the least amount of views and people listened to for a shorter period of time. Like they definitely did not listen to it all the way through. And that was even more disappointing to me because those particular episodes, I really enjoyed our conversation and I thought it was, those were good episodes, but people were not able to, really get into it or, enjoy it because of the audio issues. Right. Because I know I would have turned it off. If I turned on the podcast and it was sounding like that, I would have been like, let's try it again.
So you don't think they give us grace? And
I'm sure the people
because
who know.
This was our first season, and we're learning how to navigate through this podcast thing.
Yeah.
So, but I did not know that. You're behind the scenes doing all this stuff.
Okay, so let's talk about that.
Wait.
Okay.
But so what you're saying is that the ones that we had audio issues is the ones that kind of fell off. The viewers wasn't watching them too much.
Yeah, because they were, there was one episode in particular. It was okay. You could definitely tell that there was a difference between my audio and your audio, but it wasn't so bad. But the other two, because I had to go as I'm like trying to edit it, like I'm trying to raise and lower because your mic was on. So I'm trying to lower your volume and raise my volume. But that was hard to do because, of course, we're talking and overlapping each other. So you can't really, do that well. It took forever for me to edit those episodes, trying to keep them. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because we had talked about reshooting them. So let's talk, how does it happen multiple times? So this is how this happens. You might be saying, okay, we understand one time an audio issue, right? But how do you do it like, we actually had done it 4 times, but one of the episodes I just scrapped completely because I was not about to put another episode out there.
Well, one time it happened, or it happened multiple times, is because you're so focused on me speaking or my microphone being on, you're not paying attention to your microphone. So for you out there who have kind of bared through those episodes where we had audio issues, it kind of felt or sounded like Francina was far away because my microphone was picking her up at a distance,
right?
And because hers wasn't on, so that was the issue. She was focusing over here instead of focusing over there, and that's how issue number 1 happened.
Okay, but before you even go there, okay, so it happens one time. So this is what happened, or how we shot these podcasts. So we would shoot a podcast like we're doing right now, and then we get done, And it's not like I'm going right in right away to listen and to make sure that to watch and make sure that everything's okay. I would leave everything set up the way that it is. And then when it's time for us to shoot the next podcast, we would just sit down and just turn whatever on and then just go into the next episode. And then I didn't go and actually try to look at the episodes and edit everything until we've done this 3 or 4 times.
Like we pros now. Let's just do it.
And there were audio issues, and we didn't want to reshoot them because, like I said, we felt like the content and what we were talking, we were authentic. Mm-hmm. And I didn't want it to be fabricated or, it to look like it was made up or that we were, talking from a script or anything like that. So we made the decision to just keep it in. I think one episode we put a disclaimer at the front of the episode saying just FYI, the audio sucks, but it's a good episode. So just keep, listening. So yeah, so that was one aspect of it. But the other aspect of it was it became another job for me. I did not so let me just ask you this. So you had said earlier that you worked really hard.
That was grinding.
I want to know, or I already know, but I want you to tell the people what was your contribution to the podcast?
I was Robin to Batman over here. So I was just sitting here and because I know you like to do all that stuff, behind the scenes stuff. I don't want to interfere and get in the way and, Did
you say I like to do all that stuff?
You like to do
what
things
stuff?
like that. Like editing and...
When, how, what? I've done this before?
Well, you're a perfectionist. You don't think you are? Because I could see, I have to relearn all that kind of stuff, but I could see if I were to do it, you'll be like, oh, I don't like this. You should have did this. You should have did that.
Okay.
No, really.
This is
just
okay.
like,
no.
For example, I'll give you an example. When you were making cakes, you would see something so minute that the customer would not have a clue what that was.
Okay.
And I just hate that. And I used to always tell you, no one's going to notice except you.
I feel like we're off topic because the question that I asked you was, what was your contribution to the podcast?
I told you I was sitting here.
No, I don't feel like you said that yet.
I was your sidekick.
You were and what did the sidekick do?
I sat here.
So you sat on this sofa.
Yeah.
And you talked, and that was so after the episode. So first of all, before we even would start shooting, setting up the microphones and the camera and all of that stuff. So who did you? So when you talk about, I was so focused on making sure that your microphone was on. That's because I had to focus on everything, right? Because you, and then the one thing, because I'm trying to get everything, set up properly. And then I missed a step, which was to turn my own microphone on. Right. Yeah. So you sat down on this couch and you talked. And then after the fact,
I just get up and leave.
And then magically a podcast shows up on YouTube and you got all of these reels and social media, all of that just happened magically.
To me, it's it was magical, I could just get up and walk away and then the next thing you know, I'll see it. I was like, wow, that was pretty cool.
See? Let's go back. No. Let's go. So this is what I'm saying. So it became a job for me, right? It became something else that I had to do that stressed me out. I already had enough to do, but now I have to edit a podcasts. I have to, create reels and try to manage, social media and, TikTok, Facebook, YouTube, shorts on YouTube, TikTok, Facebook, Instagram, all of the things. And so I could not keep up. And so do you even know that I've hired somebody to help me with that stuff now?
I don't.
So thank God for Jarvis. If anybody out there is looking for, social media management or anything of that nature, I'll put his information. I think his business name is like Creative Content, like with a K, creative and content with a K. But anyway, so like for the last couple of months, I found him. Thankfully, somebody recommended him to me. And so he's like putting out the reels and stuff on social media. But still, that requires me to like let him know like specific like timestamps within each episode where I want him to, create the reels and things. But before then, it was me trying to, get everything out. And then I'm editing the episodes. And now, granted, the episodes didn't require a whole lot of editing. Because I just let it be what it was going to be. It was just 100% authentic. And so I feel like this whole episode right here is going to be about a recap of, last season. Right. And that's okay.
I'm just amazed. I mean, I thought that it just magically happened, Wow.
Y'all be Team Michael, right?
Awesome.
All day, every day. So all of this, and so it was stressful for me in trying to make sure that an episode was out, and then I'm doing all of this, and then the sound is not right. And so I think maybe I am a little bit of a perfectionist because I felt like we failed, like 100. Or not even we. I felt like I failed. Because it wasn't you that was doing it, right? You were sitting on the sofa. You did your part. Now, how everything else became my part, I don't know.
Hey, everybody's on Team Michael. You just heard what she said. I did my part. Hey. So I'm just trying to do the best I can.
How did everything else?
I come to the podcast. I do what I could do. I do a good job.
Okay, so let's talk about this too. So because I feel like people have a misconception as well. So who wanted to do a podcast?
We both wanted to do a podcast.
Okay, we both wanted to do a podcast.
Right.
It wasn't me saying, "Come on, we're gonna do a podcast." Like, did I have to twist your arm? You were wanting to do a podcast.
Yeah, you beat me down.
Don't. I beat you down.
Yeah, with all the candid.
Okay.
Conversations.
So this is how it started. This is how he got the bug. So when we, on Facebook, social media, whatever, he would say something to me or whatever. I would just get my phone out and put the camera in his face and be like, okay, so tell the people what you just said to me or whatever. So in the beginning, you were annoyed by that.
I was.
And then the more I started doing it and people started commenting or responding to it.
Team Mike.
And people became Team Michael. Then he got the bug and he started to like embrace it. And then we would be out and people would, say certain things about, we love your videos and you guys should, do a podcast, whatever. And so then he became the one that was like, yeah, we should do a podcast.
No, we both.
I mean, I'm not saying that I wasn't, but I don't want the people to think that the only reason we're doing this podcast is because I wanted to do the podcast. So if I was the only one who wanted to do it, then I should be the one that's doing all of the work. But it was not. That wasn't the case. It was both of us that wanted to do the podcast.
You're right. Yeah.
And I honestly think a little more you than me, but that's okay. Anyway, so I don't know how I became the designated do everything person.
Well, I think it's because you didn't like my idea of wanting to upgrade everything from the beginning. To me, you like to make everything harder, not smarter. I would have put the money up front in this.
Tell me what you would have put the money in.
To make it easier. Just
how?
The camera.
What's hard about the camera?
I would have.
We plug it in.
But it's not a good camera. It's not a good camera. It's just not.
Okay. So say we got this camera that was thousands of dollars that you wanted to invest in, right? Mm-hmm. And say we got whatever upgraded microphones that you wanted to get. Mm-hmm. If we still forget to turn the microphones on, it really doesn't matter whether you have top of the line equipment or bottom basement equipment.
But
if you don't go through the proper steps to utilize those things, it doesn't matter. And so in this case, the only thing that went wrong was I forgot to turn my mic on.
But you're saying, like the editing and all this stuff.
Yeah. How was the top of the line equipment going to help me manage that process?
It would have made me have more ownership. I would have been more involved. Because, I like technology. I like gadgets.
But there's a gadget that's going to...
There's a gadget component we could have added to make everything a lot easier.
To edit?
Yeah.
But you still have to edit the video.
Yeah, we'll have a sidebar
Okay.
after this podcast. And, I'll explain.
Yeah, I just don't know.
There's cool things out there that you could do.
Understood. Okay. But
anyway.
I just don't know how that would have changed anything.
No, but I will give you props, your kudos, your pat on the back.
I'm not looking for a pat on the back.
No, because you did a lot this past season.
Did you even know? Did you even think about? Oh no, you already said you did, and you just clicked
magically
on.
Appeared.
But see, I feel like this happens a lot, and we're definitely off topic because this is not.
So let's stay on topic then.
Oh, so you don't want to go? Okay, I'm gonna stay on topic because we could go elsewhere with this. But yeah, so those are the two reasons why I don't know if there's gonna be a season 2, because I feel like I was a little bit embarrassed, I think. And matter of fact, I stopped at some point even going to our like social media pages, because I would go and like listen to the reels and like laugh or click like or whatever. I didn't even want to listen to them. Stressed me out.
Wow,
I'm extra. I feel like I'm a little bit extra.
No, I understand the audio issue, but
yeah,
man,
yeah,
was that bad for you?
I think I got a problem.
Wow.
But I don't know. I wonder if it was that bad for everybody. It was just that I felt like I failed. I like to do stuff right. And when I do stuff, I expect it to be right. And when it's not right, I don't cope well, apparently. I don't know. I feel like I learned something about myself in this process, because and I know you're right about like the cake thing. Some of you don't know, I used to sometimes still do like custom cakes and stuff. And part of the reason why I stopped doing that is because I was stressing myself out, because everything had to be just right. And it wasn't fun anymore. It became like stressful because I couldn't like step away and say, okay, this is fine. It just stressed me out. Like all of the details.
Could we give your social media page a shout out for that, so if they wanted to, they could still go and see the type of things you did make, right?
Yeah.
Creative Confections TC, or was it?
I think so. I don't even remember. Creative Confections is what it was, but
Creative Confections.
Yeah, I feel like and that I wish I could have, taken a step back and not been so, critical of myself, or had such great. I don't know where it comes from. I feel like I need some therapy after this conversation. I feel like I need like some therapy or something. But anyway, yeah. So I don't know about season 2. Like some things would have to be differently. And granted, I never asked you to help, and that's probably, if I feel like if I would have said, Michael, you need to help, like you need to do something, because I had to figure it out too. I don't know anything about editing. I mean, I knew like a little bit, but I had to figure it out. It's not, and all of this I had to figure out, like from the microphones, the equipment, like all of those things, I had to kind of figure it out. But I could have said, Michael, you're going to have to pick something to help with, but I didn't. I just took it all on and then allowed it to overwhelm me. And then I'm looking at him with the side eye, like, I'm doing all the work. All he's doing is sitting on the sofa. You know what I mean? So anyway, that's how I feel. We weren't even supposed to go into that long. We were just supposed to talk because we have a whole other thing that we're supposed to be talking about.
Right.
But I feel like we've gone long on this.
We've
I
had
think,
therapy in regards to season 1.
That's what this was. This was a quick little therapy session that you guys got a chance to be a part of, because we hadn't discussed this.
Yeah, this is just off the cuff
before we sat down. We were just supposed to say, oh, is there going to be a season 2? We weren't supposed to get this deep, but we got we got a little bit deep.
So should we move on?
I don't know. This is our last episode, so if it goes a little long, I guess it's fine. Do we want to move into, I don't know.
Yeah, the summer, let's move into the summer. So we're now into the summer, and
yeah, the boys are out for,
yeah.
And that was another thing, because we had so much other stuff going on.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't realize that doing the podcast was going to,
and that was one of the
so
things.
much.
Yeah, I think that was one of the things that makes it so difficult. If you followed us, our kids they're always doing things. So the weekends for us is chaotic. The weekday is chaotic. She's busy running them back and forth to practice, or I'm running back and forth to practice. She's at their schools volunteering. Weekends, we're all day Saturday, all day Sunday, involved with their sports activities, AAU basketball. So yeah.
But the summer is here now, and
she's home with the boys.
I'm home with the boys.
And I'm at work. Yay! Nah.
Well, the thing is too. In one of I think it was episode 3 or 4, when it was talking about me, quitting
Mm-hmm.
my job. But for the past, at this point, it's been a year. It was supposed to be like 3 or 4 months. I don't know. Anyway, so I was working part-time as a contractor. So yeah, I'm home with the boys, but I'm also working, right? And at the end of June, because the boys got out of school in like May, I told my manager, like, I'm taking the month of July off, and it might even go into the month of August, because it's summertime. Mm-hmm. Did you smile when I said I'm probably going to take the month of August as well?
No.
Oh, that's not what you were smiling about. Yeah. What were you smiling about just then?
No, I'm just thinking about you're at home with the boys. This is a big year, I would think, a milestone, because Michael's going to high school.
So this is why, and their summer is shorter this year than in previous years. There's a new schedule, school calendar, and it makes their summer shorter, which I'm not happy about, because Michael is going into high school, and I feel like it's just speeding up the process of him like graduating and being off to college, and I'm not trying to speed up that process. So I wanted to take this summer to really spend some good time with them, and try to pour into them as much as possible, while I still have a little bit of influence, and they're still wanting to listen to me a little bit, because I know high school comes with different challenges and different struggles and, things of that nature. So I just really wanted to spend time with them. So I'm grateful that I'm able to, take this time and be home with them, as much as they aggravate me. And sometimes I'm like, oh my God, these boys, but I'm grateful that I have the opportunity to stay at home with them.
Yeah, because, as far as Michael goes, he'll be starting to move into learning how to drive, and I'm excited for that aspect for him, but he doesn't appear to be too excited to want to be able to drive.
I feel like this all these kids. I think it's this generation. Like, we were excited to get our driver's license. You said when you turned 15, you went to get your restricted. DMV, and like, these kids, they're different.
16, I was there. I was getting my operators. I was ready to go.
Yeah, they're different. I don't think they are excited about it.
Why do you think that is?
I don't really know. Maybe because we so I think we were excited to get our driver's license because it allowed us some type of like freedom to go. If we want to go somewhere, you know, we can take ourselves or whatever. But with these kids, if they want to go somewhere, they just ask me and I take and I take them. It's not like they're just sitting home wanting to go somewhere. And man, if I, you know, had my driver's license or my own car, I could go where I wanted to go. No, if they want to go somewhere, they just ask the parent and we take them. So why do they need their own driver's license? I don't know. I mean, I think that may be one aspect of it, but
it was like independence, you know, in a way. You go out and, you know, hang with your friends. You could, you know, drive to school.
Yeah, they don't care. But he did out of the blue yesterday. We were coming home from somewhere. They asked me to take him. And out of the blue, he said, "Mommy, can I drive?" And I was like, "Oh, okay." Because I've let him drive around in my van. Like we've gone to, you know, different parking lots or whatever and, you know, drove around and let him drive around in van. But he hasn't driven like my new car. And so he asked. And so I was like, "Oh, okay." And so I pulled off into a neighborhood and let him get into the driver's seat. And you know, he started off, you know, kind of slowly. And then we just all of a sudden like took off real fast. And then he's like, and I'm, Michael's like, and that didn't help. But he wasn't used to that car. And I guess the sensitivity of the gas pedal and the brake pedal, because when we stop, we're, you know, stopping really abruptly. So I feel, and so it made him a little bit nervous too. So I feel like I'm going to have to take him to the parking lot and stuff again with this vehicle for him to kind of get used to that. But I was happy that he asked if he could.
You probably should
drive.
not let him get too used to that one, because next thing you know, you'll be back in the van.
Well, you know, I loved my van, so don't threaten me with a good time, because listen, I'll get that thing painted and get me a good system in there, and I will be you know, rocking my minivan again. But yeah, maybe I should just let him practice in the van. But yeah, so he'll be walking into a bunch of different things this year.
Yeah, and Matthew, he'll be going to 7th grade.
He's going to 7th grade.
And I'm happy that he's finally going to be able to play football for the school.
Yes, he's been wanting to do that for a long time.
Ever since he was little.
So excited. He always wanted to do tackle.
Yeah, why can't my cousins play tackle football and I can't? You know, that was the biggest thing. And we were like, well, we'll wait until you get to middle school.
Well, the thing is, because I thought that was going to be an argument between the two of us. And I was so happy when you decided, no, he's not going to play tackle football until he gets to middle school. So I didn't even have to, because I wasn't, you know, pressed about him playing tackle football anyway. It wasn't on my top list of things that I wanted him to do. But Michael being a sports guy and, you know, into football and stuff himself, I just assumed that he was going to be trying to push him out there into tackle. But it was your decision for him to wait. As a father
now, I see the risk. So, and I've been around people who've had concussions, and, you know, so I didn't want him to, you know, get in that situation really early. Like he was saying, when I told him, I say, well, Matthew, I think it's best that you wait because you could get hurt. And he was like, I'm not going to get hurt. I say, well, sometimes people get hurt and they don't realize they hurt until years later. You know, it affects them. So as a father now, I see that, you know, football, it can be
dangerous,
yeah.
So why does he have to play at all?
Because he wants to now.
That's a good answer.
You know,
I wish he didn't, but
yeah, because when he played baseball, he was really good, and all of a sudden he didn't want to. He lost interest.
Yeah. He's all about football. So yeah, he's second year of middle school, and I'm excited for him. He's ready to go back to school already. Michael is like, why does the summer have to be so short? And I don't even want to talk about school right now, and it's not fair, and you know, all of that. And Matthew is like, I cannot wait for school to start again.
And he's, you know, starting to hit his growth spurt now.
Yes, he has.
He's getting taller.
He's not my chunk anymore. No, he actually had his checkup yesterday too, and so he's leaning out and getting taller, and puberty is on its way. So yeah, I'm excited for him for this year, because he did have some struggles with issues with people maybe picking on him about his weight and things of that nature. But now he's going into 7th grade. I think the changes in his body are going to make him a little bit more confident. So
and he
excited
just didn't understand, though. He's taller than everybody his age, so of course he's going to weigh a little bit more. And he keeps comparing himself to his brother, and he thinking Matthew, he's short. He's on the short end of the spectrum, but in actuality,
he's not.
Yeah, he's tall.
He's tall he's off the curve, just like Michael is off the curve for his height. Matthew is off the curve as well, and now he's shooting up even more, and he's just kind of leaning out, which you always said would happen, that once he hit puberty or whatever, that he would lean out, and so that's happening. And so I'm excited for him. I'm excited for him and Michael. I feel like this is going to be a great year for both of them. I think Michael is going to, I can already see signs of him starting to mature a little bit more.
Now speak it now. You can speak all of this.
It will happen, because I've prayed for it. I've put it in. This thing is going to fall.
No, it's good.
No, it's going to fall.
You're going to make it fall.
Go on the other side. Okay. This a whole other thing. Why haven't we? That's the other thing. You look at these videos. Why are you looking like that?
I'm just don't want it to fall
It's
while we're recording.
It's
this
fine.
Production value is something.
You might be thinking, why didn't we put the pictures on the wall? I don't even want to get into that. I don't know. Season 2 is looking real bleak right now. It's not looking good for season 2. Okay.
If you guys could see this setup, that's all.
So you're talking about the way I said everything. Okay, no, we were talking about Michael.
Yeah.
What was
Matthew.
I saying? I finished talking about. Oh no, I was saying that I believe that this is going to be a great year for both of them. I believe Michael is going to find things that he's passionate about. He's going to find his tribe, and that he's going to have good friends and people that are going to speak life and be a positive influence. I believe all of those things because I have prayed and asked God for those things.
Right.
And so when I pray for something, I believe that it is going to happen. And
it usually does, right?
And it usually does. You
And
better
why is
recognize,
that?
because I am God's favorite.
See?
And when you're the child of God's favorite, you have no choice but to be great. When you are married to God, how great for you that you're married to God's favorite.
So now when she says things, I expect it to happen.
You better.
Yeah.
You better
I
be in
expect it because
expectancy.
I know who she is.
And you've seen it.
And she know who she is.
And I know who. But you've seen it,
Yeah,
right? It's
yeah.
not just talk. Like when I ask God for something and it is according to his will, he hears me and he gives me the desires of my heart. Listen, so I have put that before the Lord, that Michael, this will be a pivotal year for him, and he will come into his own. Right. The same thing for Matthew. I believe that this will be a great year for him, and from a self-esteem perspective, that he will begin to recognize the gift that he is, because he is a gift. The name Matthew means gift from God, right? And so even amongst his friends and everything, he will realize that it's a privilege and a pleasure for anybody to be in relationship and friendship with him, and that he does not have to put up with, with certain things, especially from people that he considers friends. And so those are conversations that we have with him often. But I'm believing that these are going to be, this is going to be a great year for both of them. Grades are going to be good. They're going to want to do well in school. They're going to want to put forth the effort that it takes to accomplish the things that the goals and things that they have. So yeah, I think it's going to be a great year for them.
I am 100% in agreement with you.
Yeah. And so while they're in the summer, this summer, I'm just trying to pour into them, as much as I can, and trying to spend as much time with them as I can, and trying to laugh with them, and just enjoy being with them instead of always, on top of them and do this and do that. And, I just want to enjoy my time with them. And so
that's what
I'm trying to do.
But speaking of doing this and doing that, brought up a good question. A colleague of mine asked me, he was like, Mike, you have 2 boys, right? I said, yeah. He said, man, how do you guys get them to do things when they don't want to do it? And I told him, I said, well, typically, I said, my wife, she's all about structure. I said, she has a list of everything they must do once they wake up in the morning in order for them to do anything. Don't even ask to do anything if you haven't completed that list.
Yeah, because they want electronic devices, and that bothers me. So they want to wake up in the morning, and the first thing they do, they want to come in my room and get their iPads or come and get their phone, because they have to turn their phones and iPads and stuff in at night. There's no need for you to have that in your room. But anyway, so they want to come in, and that's the first thing that they want, or they want to, sit down and, turn the TV on. But you haven't done anything. You haven't brushed your teeth. You haven't washed your face. You haven't gotten dressed. You haven't done anything. So before they touch an electronic device, they know that there's a checklist of things that they have to do. They have to brush their teeth, wash their face. They have to put on clothes. They have to make sure that their rooms are clean, that their bathrooms are clean, that the loft where they spend a lot of their time, that is picked up as well. And then they have to do their daily devotional. So we have a devotional. I think it's called purpose-driven life for kids or something like that. And so they have to read a page out of their devotional and come and tell me what they read, explain it to me, so I know that you actually read it, and that you're not just reading it to read it, but that you're comprehending, and that word is, actually getting down on the inside of you. So do all of those things, and then you can get your cell phone, or you can sit down and turn the TV on, but don't touch my TV or my phone or my iPads, because though they're yours, they belong to me.
Right.
Don't touch none of that until you do everything on this checklist. Now, they'll try me from time to time, especially that oldest one.
Yeah.
But they know.
And the fact that we also use that strategy if they're not performing well in school.
Yeah, like in what sense? What do you mean?
Well,
that you don't get those things if you're not performing well in school?
Yeah, you don't get those things if you're not performing in school. Like Matthew, he's more of the athlete, I guess. He likes to participate. So we could tell him, hey, in order, if you don't make
get them grades right,
yeah, you're off the team. You're not doing what you want to do.
And that would be torture to him.
Right.
But what about that other one?
So Michael, he's totally different.
The opposite.
So we have to threaten him. Hey, if you fail this course, or you make a D or a C, then we're gonna put you in basketball or football. And he doesn't want to do that.
We're gonna make you.
I'm
signing you up for tennis.
Yeah.
If you bring home another C on a test, I'm signing you up for tennis. So for most kids,
that's his motivation.
To not have to do anything.
Yeah, he doesn't want to participate. So he'll improve if you threaten to make him play sports. Whereas Matthew, you threaten to take it away from him, he'll improve.
And that's this thing about parenting. Trying to figure out, because every child is different and not what you expected that they were going to be. And I always think about, like, I remember reading in Michelle Obama's book, I think it was Becoming. She talked about how you have to parent the child that you have, not the child that you thought you were going to have. Because these children are not the children that I thought I was going to have. Like, in so many ways, I'm like, no, y'all were supposed to be obedient. Y'all were supposed to love reading. You were supposed to be great. Like, all of these things that I thought I was going to get in my children, they are themselves, which they're supposed to be.
Exactly.
They're supposed to be themselves, but we oftentimes have in our mind what kind of child we're going to have, and then we're upset, or it's a battle because you're trying to parent the child that you thought you were going to have, when you got a whole different child in front of you and you have to parent that child. And so when they're two two different personalities, totally different personalities. It makes it a little bit challenging, but they're good kids.
Yeah. So all in all, we just have to stay the course and, be prayful.
Prayful?
Yeah.
Prayful.
Oh, well, is that a word?
It's not.
Okay. I can't
What is
use
the word?
We're going to have to
be you can do it. You can do it. Is it prayerful or is it prayerful?
Oh, prayerful. Oh, okay. Prayerful.
Yeah, it's prayerful.
So, that, and give it to God and.
Yeah, because our responsibility is to do our part, is to point them towards Christ, is to help them, to develop good morals and values and, present opportunities and things with them. But at the end of the day, the decision is theirs. And at the end of the day, they belong to God.
Right.
God loves them more than I do. And he has a plan for them, and I have to trust that. And that's another aspect of me kind of giving up the control thing, because in the past I've tried to control every little thing, and then I'm stressed and anxious and all of those things, when you have to let go and give these kids to God. Doesn't mean that you don't do your part. And I think the hard part sometimes is trying to figure out where that line is. What is my part and what is God's part? And so that's something else that I've been praying about, that I am only trying to do my part and not trying to be God in their lives, to allow God to be God. Because sometimes I think we can interfere with what God is trying to do in their lives, because we're trying to make everything right, or we're trying to, make things happen a certain way. But God has to be God in their lives. And so. Yeah,
it's a very thin line.
Yeah, it's hard. It's hard trying to navigate it, but I'm trying over here. I'm trying. So, but that's it.
Yeah.
Do we have anything else other than to say, I wanted to say this about the podcast as we sum this up. This is our last episode for this season. I want to thank everybody, though, it didn't go the way that I thought it should have gone. There were so many people were watching. I see it from like the numbers and things, the views. And we had like a couple people in particular who were watching and commenting, and we appreciate the faithfulness. We appreciate the support from everybody. But my cousin Kimaya.
Oh, okay.
Every episode, commenting, engaging. I just love the support from her.
Oh, all right.
Also, James Lowry.
Oh.
James Lowry Jr. Is he a junior? I believe he is a junior.
Shout
but yeah, I know
both.
that, he was, watching and supporting. And so I just wanted to thank everybody who bared with us this season. Everybody who was rooting us on.
Thank you.
And we appreciate y'all. It has been an interesting process. Yeah. And we'll see if there's a second season. We'll see what thus saith the Lord. If there is to be a second season, it's at least gonna be after the kids are back in school. Yeah. So that's like at least a month away that we'll start shooting a second season. Probably with some of this high dollar equipment that this one over here wants.
There's a Prime Day coming up. So
I am waiting on Amazon Prime Day. So we'll see. I don't know. So
So I don't know. I guess we're just thankful that you guys were able to, tune in and kind of get to know us. So we just thank you, because sometimes I've spoken to some people and it's like, well, how do you do this? I'm trying to subscribe. How you do that? I don't know how to do it.
Yeah. So the other thing is, and I know this episode is long, so I don't know if you guys are even going to watch it or not, but who cares? That was the other thing that I'm confused about as well, because every reel or post or whatever, we would always attach like the link to the YouTube page where the podcast is located. But I've had so many people to say, they might say, I watched the podcast, but they haven't really watched the podcast. Right. They've only watched the reels. Yeah. That's not the full podcast. The podcast is on YouTube. And so a lot of people don't realize that. And I don't necessarily know how to kind of bridge that gap or make people understand or know, because like I said, we include the link but I don't think people read the captions. They're just going and they're listening to the reels. But yeah, the episodes are on YouTube. The Clueless Couple Podcast on YouTube. But I wonder, can you shoot a podcast on social media? I don't know. This is probably off topic, but it's on YouTube. Yes. Yeah. And you go to YouTube and you type in the Clueless Couple Podcast and you'll find us, and then you should hit subscribe. And I think there's a notification bell, and then it'll let you know every time we drop a new episode. But I feel like that affected our viewership as well, because I was at lunch with a couple friends of mine earlier this week on Monday, and they were saying, but how do we listen to the whole thing? And I was like, the link is right there.
Right.
But people don't realize it. So I don't know how to get past that.
So if we make it to season 2, just
if we
be prepared, because it's must watch. If you like Bridgerton, season 2 of Clueless Couple, we're gonna be just like that.
Bridgerton, I don't know, but we'll see. We'll see what thus saith the Lord about a season 2. So we want to close this out.
Yeah. So we just thank you guys once again. Thanks for tuning in, watching the Clueless Couple, getting to know us. Just keep watching, hit subscribe. We just hope that we'll see you back for season 2.
Go back and watch make sure you catch the full season.
Yeah, so start even with those 1, 3 with the bad audio. 1. Catch those. If you haven't watched it, you have to watch it.
Okay. Yeah. Y'all go ahead and watch them. I'm sorry. I cringe thinking about it. Anyway. All right. That's all. Love you guys. Talk to you later. Bye.
Bye. So that's the end of another episode of the Clueless Couple Podcast.
Remember, you can catch up on past episodes anytime, and don't forget to like and subscribe.
You can also connect with us on social media, because we love hearing from our listeners.
That's right. Until next week, keep loving, keep laughing, and keep living those unforgettable moments together.
Bye y'all.